So there's a place and a time for everything. And now if I was going to be like, I'm not a 3D shoot. I don't shoot tournaments and things like that. If I was and I wanted to do that, I would probably first I'd have to switch to my other side because I'm left eye dominant. So I'd have to start shooting left, and I would, take up gap shooting or string walking, something like that. Because I just don't think that an instinctive shot will make a great target shot, because of the amount of consistent discipline that it requires to stay focused that long.
Hey, what's going on? Welcome to this week's episode of the Stickbow Chronicles, brought to you by Blackwidow Bows. I'm Rob Patuto, and I got my good buddy Jake Strohmeyer here, the traditional virgin, to help me kick this one off.
I don't know if it's a virgin, but it's pretty close.
Yeah, you've only bent the bow a few times.
It's probably like all the virgins you've met.
It's a family show. Jake was on. He's been on a couple times. We did the bear hunt last spring, and I think we did something else. You were on again after.
Oh, we did the guide story.
Oh, the guide stories. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
How could I forget? I got some disgruntled messages about setting somebody up to get kicked by a mule. Like that was a bad thing.
Yeah, they never met that kid.
So Jake just started shooting a stick bow. Like if you hadn't heard the episodes, Jake and I go back 20 plus years, and he's always been a compound guy, and he's been flinging some arrows this year out of he's shooting my Bear 59, right?
Yeah, I'm shooting the Bear 59 now is what I've been flinging a few arrows with. Still working on around some shoulder stuff, but it seems to be getting a little bit better actually.
It's not by design, but it seems like the last 3 out of 4 episodes have been kind of centered around shooting. It wasn't the way I didn't plan it that way, but to this week's episode is with a guy that I first became aware of on Trad Gang forums years ago. His name's Jeff Kavanagh, and he's actually a bear archery guy. So he shoots all bear archery bows. He's from Ontario, Canada, and he's got quite an extensive YouTube channel with his shooting techniques, and he's got a lot of good videos on there. The one thing I love about him is he's always shooting inside his shop, and in the wintertime, which is a long time in Ontario, Canada, it's an ice rink. So not only is the guy shooting instinctive, but he's standing on ice while he's doing it. So guy's pretty.
Is he on skates too?
Well, he played hockey, so I'm thinking, man, you ever watch a hockey player fight and the balance they have? I'm like, man, if that guy can shoot a bow that good, he shoots candle. He's shooting candles out. He's putting candles out at
no kidding.
Over 25 yards. Moving, swinging candles.
That's impressive.
That's impressive. So I'm not going to go toe to toe with him lacing the skates up, because I'm pretty sure he's got good balance.
Just think how fast you could go get your arrows, though, if you could skate down there and get them.
And find them. No, he's a really, really good shooter. He's a shotgunner, bird hunter, traditional archer. And we talk a lot about how shooting a shotgun relates to instinctive shooting. Can you imagine, woodcock, right? We don't have them out here, but back east, they're really kind of like a miniature grouse on speed. They are fast. And he hunts them with a bow. So pretty cool stuff.
No kidding.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he says he hits 1 or 2. So before we get started, how's the COVID thing down there? Now you're in the center of the state. I'm in the northern part of the state.
Yeah, the county I live in, it still only has 2 cases, and it hasn't gone up for quite some time. It seems like things are starting to stabilize a little bit. So I don't know. I'm hopeful that it might be on the downswing, but I don't know. From a lot of what I hear, we're still going to be staying at home all the way through May.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I mean, I've never heard anything. I've never heard anything official, but that seems to be when you start listening to doctors and that sort of thing that it's going to be a lot longer than we've been led to believe by some of the politicians.
Well, now we're going to get a little off topic here, but I really get the feeling with this warmer weather, people are done with it here. So I go around into town and I see freaking license plates from all over hell, So if if the 5,000 people in this county are doing it and the 2,000 visitors are showing up, that's going to be pretty frustrating. Like Carrie Doyle from Nutritional Boner Magazine, she had a post the other day. It's like, if we'd all just do this, this would work because I got stuff to do in June. let's get this over with.
Right. Yeah. Oh, the county that I live in has actually just recently passed an order that you're actually not even, they don't want people leaving the county or coming back into the county. They say, like, I was to go to Boise to go grocery shopping, I'm supposed to self-isolate for 14 days when I get back. And I don't know how realistic that is, but they're really where I live is a very much a tourism economy, and they are flat saying, don't come here, stay away. Really trying to push that before the people start coming up with the nicer weather. It'll be interesting to see how many people comply with
that. Yeah. I've got a ton of listeners up around the Michigan area. I've got a couple of guys that have been on the show quite a bit. I think of them as buddies, and they're not the only ones. I mean, there's a lot of people having to cancel spring hunts and early summer hunts. And not to minimize the real, tragic outcome of some of this. There's some real people dealing with real tragedies. So I understand we're just talking about, our little world here and the little bubble I live in. But man, it's just a lot of frustration out there. A lot of guys are looking forward to some big trips and not able to go. This is pretty weird, man. Pretty weird. But fortunately we have the internet here, and I know a lot of shops and manufacturers are closed down, but we all are fortunate enough to get online and look at really cool websites, like Kifaru International, like the Footed Shaft, like Selway Archery, and Blackwidow Bows. How's that for a cheesy sales pitch? Thanks for our sponsors, all those guys. Some of them had to shut down. I know Terry over there and Drew, they're still in their shops working, and they're still doing mail order stuff. But if you like the show, you like what we do here, those are the guys that help make this possible. So please support those guys. So what do you got going on for the springtime? Anything?
Well, other than the bear hunting trip that we're hoping to still be able to put together here toward the end of the month.
So we're scheduled to leave on a Friday, and we're gonna fly. We're gonna drive. We're gonna meet in a very remote location, and get in a tiny little plane, and they're gonna drop us off in the middle of freaking nowhere. So really, there's no COVID issues going on, right? We're gonna be, other than being in the plane. I'll have the window open. How's that? We'll be doing our social distancing, but we're supposed to leave on a Friday. And I was like, you know what? I'm pretty sure we're going to solidify these plans by Wednesday of that week.
Yeah.
See if this goes.
That's plenty of lead time.
I haven't packed yet. I'm probably Monday. I'll start I'll put my 44 mag on my frame and start loading her up. And I usually load my pack about 14 times. And I did order a new stove.
What'd you order?
I ordered the MSR wind burner. I couldn't justify paying the buying the reactor. I mean, that's some bit, that sucker's like $250.
Yeah.
So, yep, got the reactor. I got a lot of life out of that jet boil, but
yeah, I've had my jet boil now. I think I got it in 2012. So that thing is coming on 8 years old.
oh geez, I think I probably had mine since 09 or 10. A lot of life out of that. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. If we can get back there, it'll be a great trip. Sometimes I look at these trips, like when there seems to be a tons of hurdles to get over to take a trip, you get back there or you take the trip and you go, that's why I wasn't supposed to go. This is a suck fest. No.
I thought you were going to go the other way. It's like, oh, this is so rewarding. It was worth all the hard work and adversity.
No, you're the optimist. I'm the pessimist. You're like, get back there and you're like, that's why I wasn't supposed to go. This sucks ass.
Well, we'll see what happens, but it sure would be nice to get out and away for a week or so. I think, like a lot of people that are listening, I've been working from home for 3.5 weeks now, and it's I'm getting tired of the inside of these walls during the day. I've also found out that I can multitask pretty good. I've been on mini conference calls, hosing out the back of my truck, cleaning out the garage, doing all kinds of stuff that my boss probably wouldn't want to know that I was doing on the clock. But hey, all I got to do is listen to the dang conference call. So I figured I could do two things at once.
Well, I've been doing. You don't do Facebook, but I've been doing some Facebook Live stuff to help break up the monotony for people, and then taking the audio and dump it out there, just raw audio. Because, man, in the beginning, I was getting a bunch of messages like, hey, can you help? Can you put more content out? We're going crazy. And then I got tons of people on my Facebook on Facebook group page that are doing, live shooting. So they'll shoot and post it, and Instagram as well. So, if there's a silver lining, I think we'll all be better shots by June.
Or at least better with technology.
Yes. Well, hey, I appreciate you jumping on here. Jeff Kavanagh, you should listen to him. You need some shooting pointers. You should listen to him.
I sure will.
Plus, he's got a Canadian accent. How cool is that?
Right. Yeah. Well, I'll be shooting swinging candles next time I see you.
All right. Well, without any more lip flapping, we'll get after it later. Jeff Kavanagh here. When I first came across you was through Trad Gang, and first off, you're kind of a bear guy, right?
Yeah, I've got all bear bows, pretty much. Yeah. I started off with a Bear Minuteman back in the early, I guess, 71 or 70, 74, maybe. I can't remember. And it was my first bow I ever got, and that and the Archer's Bible. And so I figured what works for him would work for me too. So I've just always stayed with bear.
And you're in Ontario, Canada. How did you get started? What inspired you?
Robin Hood by Errol Flynn.
Oh, the real one.
Yeah.
The real one.
Yeah.
Something cool about that movie now, that was Howard Hill doing the shooting, right?
Yep.
And those stuntmen, I read somewhere the stuntmen actually had oak planks in their shirt.
Oak planks in their chest. Yeah. He shot them live arrows.
Yeah, while they were riding horses.
Yeah. And yeah, that scene where they're going through the castle, where at the beginning where Robin Hood is escaping and he's shooting guys in the chest with the arrows. Well, that's Howard Hill shot those.
Yeah, that's pretty intense.
That's crazy.
I wonder what those
were men back then, I guess. I don't know.
I wonder what those stuntmen got paid.
Not very much, likely.
And I wonder if they were sober. How about that?
Yeah. I guess, well, they had to run in a straight line, so.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, so I came across you on Trad Gang, and you've got quite a YouTube channel, Jeff Kavanagh Archery. And one thing I really, really like about your YouTube channel is you're generally shooting on an ice rink, homemade ice rink. That cracks me up.
Yeah, I got the idea to put that in when I quit farming several years back, and I had the barn there, and the kids loved hockey, and my daughter was a figure skater, so I figured I'd turn it into an ice rink. So that was a lot of fun back then.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm sorry now. You were talking about how you got started. I got sidetracked with Errol Flynn.
Oh yeah, no, I was just like every kid, I think, intrigued by the movie and by the whole process, and I wanted to shoot, and so I started off just, every kid would break some branches and tie some string and make a bow that way, and we were on Christmas vacation one time. I guess I was in grade 7, I guess, and we're at a J.C. Penney store, and I saw this Bear Minute Man. I begged my dad to get it for me, and he did. And kind of went from there. But it was just there was no, things were different back then. I mean, I just had to experiment and figure it out on my own. And of course, I didn't know what I was doing. I was overbowed, and just had to look at pictures to figure out what to do. And because it's not like now, you just go on the internet and boom, 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 you've got video after video after video of instruction, right?
Yeah.
And archery is still to this day almost next to nil in Ontario.
Really?
I hardly know another trad shooter, and even compound. It's like I work at a bow shop.
Oh.
And even compounds are very, everybody's got crossbows.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
crossbows in here, and if someone walks into the shop and there's some traditional archery, it's like I'm on cloud 9 because I can talk to someone about it. So it's really scarce here.
Now, how long has the crossbow been legal there in Ontario?
Oh, as long as I can remember.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't mind. It gets people, as long as it gets people out there, right?
Yeah.
I see a lot of people saying how it's going to damage, the seasons and things like that, and it hasn't up here.
Being as they've always been there, I think that's probably quite a bit different than, for some reason, my mind jumps to legalizing marijuana, right? So if marijuana was always legal, wouldn't be a big deal.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyways, so you are a pure instinctive shooter. Is that correct?
Yeah.
You define that. And then you say snap shooting. Can you define snap shooting?
Well, there's different definitions. I think that's what kind of throws people off. Like, people associate snap shooting as shooting recklessly. And I disagree. I think shooting recklessly is shooting recklessly. Snap shooting, if you're doing it correctly, you're still going through a regular, normal shot sequence. And I mean, I remember seeing a video of Fred Bear talking about snap shooting. He said, well, I wouldn't recommend it to anyone else. And, it's like, yeah, I tend to agree. It's like not everybody's a pitcher, right? Not everybody's a defensive end. Everyone has their own little thing they have to kind of, they do well at, and they will do well at. So it's not for everybody. But basically, over years and years, my shot sequence has just become more fluid. It's still very defined. I can still break it down. I can still, work on different section anchor point. I can work on follow through. I can work on bow hand. I can work on different aspects of my shot sequence because I do have it broken down into different stages. It's just that because of shooting, hundreds of thousands of arrows, it's just become more fluid. And because I like wing shooting, it has to be fluid, right?
So you're a big shotgunner, right?
Yeah. I started off with that. And then when I picked up a bow, it's like, it just seemed natural to me. Like, well, I want to hunt with it. Well, what do I hunt most? Birds. And so I just immediately started trying to hit things in the air. It just made sense because, live game doesn't stand still very often. So
you hunt birds with a bow?
yeah, I hunt ducks, geese, grouse, woodcock, pheasant, anything like that. I mean, I have success and I have misses, and it's all part of the fun.
Yeah. I come from the, I don't want to say era, but I'm 52 years old, and the way I learned to shoot is same basic principles as you shoot, and I had Fred Aspel's books.
Yeah.
It wasn't intended, but my last 4 podcasts here in the last 3 weeks have been centered around shooting. So you and I have been trying to get together for a while, and it just so happens that now we're talking about instinctive shooting.
Yeah. It's funny how it's so debated.
Yes. Yeah. And then I kind of get my hair in it. Well, I don't have much hair. It's just pretty short. It stands up anyways. I get a little frustrated sometimes because it's like snap shooting is a bad word or, a bad thing. So when anybody wants to see how you shoot, I mean, go on YouTube. You're pretty much a crack shot.
Yeah, well, I guess I don't know.
Well, snuffing candles, I guess, is pretty impressive.
Yeah, it comes from the shotgun. And basically, when I you pick up a shotgun, right? And here you are with a shotgun, right? Have a bow, arm with a bow.
Yeah,
it's the same thing. My shooting frame is similar. Everything, stance is similar. Everything is similar, and so it just seemed like a natural progression to me. And I think that people limit themselves with what they can hit because they believe they can't hit it.
What's your typical setup? And I know you shoot a bunch of different bear bows, but what is your typical setup?
I like a bow around 55, 60 pounds. That's what's comfortable for me for shooting.
And you shoot aluminum arrows? Yeah,
I like aluminums. I just like the way they perform for me. They're easy to tune, easy to set up. And then, of course, for wing shooting, I use big flus.
Now, when you're in your instructional videos, you mention often step by step and vertical line. How would you relate to somebody how you shoot? How would you walk them through that?
You mean the fundamentals?
Yes.
Well, see, that's where I think archery in itself, I say this a million times, whether you're standing on a 70-meter line with a tricked out recurve, or you're on a tree stand shooting a deer with a compound bow, or knocking ducks out of the air with a longbow, it's all the same fundamentals. Back tension, follow through, frame, shooting frame, stance, everything is the same. And so there was an article I just wrote, it was in last December's Ontario Out of Doors magazine. And it was basically going from compound to traditional. And so one of the pictures I took pictures of my son. You can see it on my Instagram page there. I've got a thing on my Instagram page, but I've got him shooting his compound bow and I've got him shooting a longbow. And you could transpose one photo over the other.
Same form,
same everything. It's just he's using a release in one. Elbow's just a little bit higher because of release, but it's fundamentally back tension is the key, right?
Mm-hmm.
And shooting frame and follow through. And so with what I do, I think it applies to everything. And so when I see someone coming in the bow shop and we're talking compound bows, and they're picking up a compound bow, and I'm leading them through how to set up for it, how to draw it. It's the same as if I was teaching someone to shoot a recurve.
Now, do you pull? Are you pulling through with your back from the beginning of your draw cycle?
I think that's the secret, because if you have to transfer your weight load from one muscle group to another, you're going to get a collapse, right? I've used this analogy before that if I had a 10-pound weight and I held it at arm's length out from me, right, like this, and I'm trying to hold it in the same position, and I let go, my hand pops up, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I try to transfer it from one hand to the other, and so I pass it from one hand, the hand that I'm passing it to drops instantly before I regain it.
I did see that. That's interesting. Yeah, I saw that in your videos.
And so if you're doing that with tension, if you're pulling with your shoulder and now you're trying to drop, change that to your back, you're going to collapse. That's just a it's physics, it's physiology, it's everything. So for me, I think it's important to make that back tension engaged right from the very beginning of the draw cycle. And that's why many times if I'm teaching someone, like a lot of archers, they'll have the bow up and then they just draw, right? Mm-hmm. So they're engaging their back muscles from the very beginning. Because I do a swing draw, because I'm on live target, I can't walk around with my bow arm up, right? Mm-hmm. So when I get a bird come up, I'm going to swing draw. And so it's kind of a combination push-pull. But when I'm teaching someone to shoot, I'll have them have the bow up and just draw and force that elbow back. And so that they're engaging those back muscles right from the very beginning of the draw cycle. So they don't have to transfer the load. I think as soon as they transfer the load, that leads to a collapse and failure in the shot.
Now, I was going to ask you, I had one of those questions wrote down. You do a lot of swing draw and you use that vertical line on the bail. It's obvious when you're swing draw, you are tracking the target from the moment you start to move. You know what I mean? You're obviously focused on that. So for me, I looked at it immediately and think, well, how does that work on like deer or, elk? Because you don't want to see that much movement, or you don't want them to see that much movement.
Well, just do it slowly. And I can draw with the bow arm up and pull too.
Yeah.
Like I do both ways.
Yeah.
And so it just depends on the circumstance, right?
And so when you practice on a bail, when you have that vertical line, I think the one I was watching, you had a skate lace. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah,
I love hockey.
Yeah.
Explain to people what that was, because you mentioned something when you don't miss side to side with your brain, you miss with your form. So walk us through that, because I did think that tied a lot together.
Okay. Basically, when you bring your bow arm up, you have a nice normal stance. Your hands are at the side of your body, right? And all you're doing is raising that arm up. And so you're raising it up straight on a, perfect vertical line. So you want to do that with that target in mind. So in my mind, I have an imaginary vertical line from that bullseye right to my feet. And that's the line that I bring my hand up with. Right? Now, if I were to bring it from the side, like have my hand in front and bring it from the side like this, now I have to stop before I go over draw or under, right? And so it just makes more of a chance for error and side-to-side misses. That's what I found. Now, you can say, but when you're shooting moving targets, I'm doing that swing draw on the move. But to me, there's still that same line flowing to the target in my mind.
Do you find with snap shooting, because I put myself in the same category as a snap shooter. I mean, I'm not swing drawing like that, but how much do you put into it as timing, right? Because when I hit anchor, it's going. I mean, I try to slow my shot down. I'm a little better when I slow my shot down. So if you're in your method, if the deer turns, if the duck dodges in the middle of your swing draw, do you have to reset?
Yeah, I can stop it.
Yeah. Then you have to reset because your timing, I find it, my timing is
then it's just a no shot.
Yeah.
It's funny, we're talking about this. I sent you a link to, there's a book I have that I picked up. It's called The Churchill Method of Instinctive Shotgunning.
Mhm.
And a lot of people talk to me about, ask about instinctive archery, and they question, the reality of it and everything. And well, I think in Churchill's book, in that little video clip I sent you, I don't think there's a better explanation for what instinctive archery is than that video on instinctive shotgunning.
Walk people through that. It is good.
Well, if you can, we should put up a link or something for people
Sure.
to watch. It's called the Churchill Method of Wing Shooting, or the Churchill Method of Shooting. And there's 3 elements of it. First, you have to see the target. Then you have to have faith you're going to hit the target, right? So in other words, it's our minds, it's like if I throw something to you quickly, you reach out and you grab it and you catch it, right? You don't think about it. You just react and catch it, okay? Shooting instinctively in archery is the same way. If you think about it, you're going to drop it. I throw that to you, you think you're going to drop it, right? I think, how many times have you been, you a shotgunner yourself? I used
to shoot a lot of skeet when I was a kid.
Okay, because you're out in the duck blind, and the duck goes all of a sudden just flies over, and you just react, boom, you kill it dead, right? Or how does that happen? You see a duck coming from 150 yards away. Oh, you got the bead on that sucker. You're all ready for it. Go boom, boom, boom. You missed 3 shots, right? It's because your mind is telling what to do. Your mind, you can't think as fast as you can react. And so you're just a better thinker if you let it happen naturally. I think that's instinctive shooting.
Yeah, I think it's such a great technique, a great tool in bow hunting, but there's just not a lot of people that subscribe to it anymore. And I don't know how it got a bad name, but you're absolutely right. I look at some of the best shots I've ever made on game, and it would be my second shot, right? If I have a second shot, I'm like, crap, you are not thinking, you're just, it's muscle memory, right?
Yeah.
You're hitting anchor and letting her rip, and you're like, yeah, bam.
Yeah. And I think Fred Bear actually talked about this one time too, where he talked about our brain being an amazing computer. And we can factor in all kinds of angles and speed and things like that we just can't do manually. But we can do it instinctively and people instinctively meaning we have the ability to learn and to do that, right? When people get caught up on the semantics when they talk about instinctive archery, that, well, it's not instinctive because you can't just pick up a bow and shoot. No, but instinctively we have all the tools available to us to learn and shoot like that.
Yeah, I mean, the analogy of throwing a baseball, I really think, it might be cliche, but
it works.
Yeah.
I did a video of my son when he was, I guess, 11. Second time it was for a university course that I took. I'm lost for words here.
Well, that's okay. I've never been to college, so you're
anyway,
clueless.
it was a course I had a chance to take, so I took it. And in it, we had to film a practice. So I asked if I could film a practice of teaching my son wing shooting and archery. And so this was the second time he ever shot a bow. He started off with a compound bow, but the second time he ever shot a recurve. And he's knocking things out of the air his second time with a bow because he's allowing his mind let it happen, right?
Kids are amazing. When you go to 3D shoot, or you do sometime like the Kid Alley at a gun show, we'll have kids come in and they can shoot bows and stuff. They're absolutely amazing.
That's because no one's told them they can't do it yet.
Yeah, you might be right.
That's one of the biggest blocks. And then people say, well, you put up the candle from 28, 30 yards. And yeah, like, why not? Well, it can't be done. Well, because you believe it can't be done, it can't be done.
Is that what you shoot them at 28 yards?
Yeah. I shoot them at 30 yards, put candles out at 30 yards, swinging candles and stuff. And,
wow.
If I didn't believe I could do it, there's no way I could ever hit them. But I let it happen because I believe it can happen. I know it can happen. And so I just shoot. I think that's one of the biggest blocks for people trying to shoot instinctively is they don't believe it in themselves. And that's what I talk about, you have to have that faith that you can actually do it.
Now, what would be one of the biggest or best techniques that you would steer to somebody towards? How would they practice? I mean, you have all of the points to hit laid out in your video on your YouTube channel, but for a guy that is an instinctive shooter, how would you say is the best way to practice?
I think any kind of swinging or moving target, you can feel the rhythm of, because what happens to me, like on my Instagram page, I took a picture from work, a bunch of targets, some 300 round targets, indoor 300 round targets, stuff like that. And I mean, to me, it's just like, it's like flock shooting ducks, right? I see that many targets. I don't know where to look, right? Now, for me, when a target's moving, it's grabbed my attention. And I actually shoot better at moving targets than I do stationary now because I'm so focused. It grabs my attention. It so focuses my mind to that spot I need to hit.
Now, like I said, I'm a snap shooter, and I had some of those aerial targets. About 10 years ago, I got some aerial targets. You roll them on the ground and you throw them in the air, and they're a blast. And my kid just loves it. And by the way, I mean, he was incredible when he was 6 years old drilling them. But I find personally that I start short drawing on a moving target, and so I quit shooting moving targets for that reason.
No, you have to keep that discipline in that you have to keep that shot sequence. And if you're blowing the shot sequence, then it doesn't work. Now, I've had shots where, like, I'll do things like I throw breath mints up for myself and stuff. And depending on the shot, like I can't always get the full draw because I don't have time. But I'm still following through. I still have back tension engaged. Everything is still on the right, sequence of events. It's just that sometimes, I am short drawing because the time limit means I can't come to full draw.
Yeah. And it goes back to when we were talking about timing, right? So everything is lined up. It's right, but you have not reached full draw, right? So your timing technically is off a little. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah.
Interesting.
But if you let your mind take it, it will tell you when the timing's correct.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Wilhelm brothers?
Oh yeah! Oh my gosh! Yes.
Well, right?
Yes.
He apparently had a shoulder injury when he was young, so he shot from the hip.
What video is that on? I got to dig that out.
It's just the Wilhelm brothers.
Well, was it on? Gosh, seemed like it was on a DVD because it shows the one brother pouring a cup of coffee with a biscuit in his mouth. And his brother shooting the biscuit out of his mouth.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. I'll have to dig that out and put that up for the listeners.
Here's Wilhelm Brothers. It's WILHELM Brothers Archery. And I just typed that and I got the video right there.
I'll have to dig that up after we get off here.
It's called Meet the Champs.
Yeah. Gosh, what year? That would have been in the 20s or 30s?
It had to be, 20s or 30s, a long time ago.
Yeah, so one brother had a shoulder injury, and he shot from the hip, and the other brother just shot standard.
Normally, yeah.
I was talking to somebody the other day. Like I said, I've done several podcasts here just recently on shooting techniques, not on purpose, but, you talk about timing. So, gosh, somewhere like early 90s or mid 90s, late 90s, I was shooting some competition 3D, and I started to get into a short draw thing. Mm-hmm. I didn't recognize it because my shooting was still really good. I mean, I was killing it week in, week out, but that I didn't recognize the problem, and that led it to a collapse that fall. How should I have taken care of that problem?
Yeah. When I'm shooting a lot, I'm always working on my shot sequence. And so I'm always going back to basics. That's why I have a bunch of 35-pound bows, and I slow everything down on purpose so that I can maintain that discipline. When I talk about instinctive shooting, like I think I made an analogy to you the other day on a message saying about shotgunning for ducks versus being on a range or something like that shooting 300 yards with a rifle, right? If you're going to be a rifle shot, you're not going to want to instinctively shoot. You're going to want to use sights, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're shotgunning, you're not going to want to use sights. You're going to want to shoot instinctively. So there's a place and a time for everything. And now, if I was going to be I'm not a 3D shooter. I don't shoot tournaments and things like that. If I was, and I wanted to do that, I would probably first I'd have to switch to my other side because I'm left eye dominant. So I'd have to start shooting left, and I would, take up gap shooting or string walking, something like that. Because I just don't think that an instinctive shot will make a great target shot because of the amount of consistent discipline that it requires to stay focused that long. I did a kind of a joke video because people always ask me, how do you do on 300 rounds? And I've never really shot a 300 round, right? And I think I shot one, and I was like first one I ever shot was like 267 or something like that, or 265. Not very good. I tried it one time. But then I made a video of myself doing my version of a 300 round. And so I took a little tiny bottle, like a chainsaw oil bottle, about 3 inches. So basically the size of a five
spot there.
5 spot on 300 round, and it was swinging. And I went out 20 yards, and I snapshot, but I also turned to the target and shot. I wasn't like lining it up and shooting. I was just turn around fast and shoot. And I think I hit 9 out of 13 of them or something. That I shot, which would have been like a perfect bullseye. But that's the way I enjoy shooting, and it's my thing. Now, so as it goes, as I said, I shoot better on moving targets than I do on stationary targets. And if I was going to shoot in tournaments and things like that, I'd probably want to adopt using sights or gap shooting or something like that. But then I'd also have to switch sides because I'm left eye dominant and I shoot right.
One thing that I caught right off the bat watching your videos is that you don't seem to cant the bow. Am I seeing that right?
Yeah, I do cant it.
Oh, do you?
That's a minor cant. It's not a big cant.
Yeah.
It just opens up the sight window for me.
Absolutely. Yeah. Do you bend at the hips at all?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just, to me, the bow just kind of comes up naturally on a cant with my hands like this, right? And the bow sits there.
Yeah.
And it just kind of, the way the grip on the bow is, it cants naturally for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's a cant. I try to maintain that shooting frame all the time. I see people when they do come into the shop and they start talking traditional archery, there seems to be this misconception that in order to shoot a recurve or a longbow, you got to shoot like a caveman, all hunched over and collapsed and everything. And I said, well, that's not the case. And that's again where I say, going back to the fundamentals, doesn't matter. The fundamentals are the same in all different types of archery.
So what would you say, like for deer, when you're deer hunting, what is your maximum effective range, or do you have one? I mean,
well, deer, because of the animal, deer are really flighty, right? And it's 25 yards is comfortable.
Yeah.
I used to like 10, 8 yards, but then that's too hard to get a shot off because they're just, they can hear your heartbeat at that range.
Sure.
Because I hunt on the ground. I'm afraid of heights. And so being on the ground, anything 20 to 25. I'm comfortable with the shot, depending on what mood the deer is in.
How about, do you hunt moose at all up there?
I've never had a chance with,
Gotcha.
we've got moose up at my cabin, but I can't get a tag.
Oh, really? That's okay.
I'm looking forward to bear hunting this spring here at my cabin, as long as this COVID stuff doesn't go crazy on us.
Oh, buddy. How are you guys dealing with that up there? What do you got going on up there?
Oh, it's just isolation, same around the world, eh?
Yeah.
It's affected. Like I'm not working right now. My wife's vet clinic's still operational, but it's like scaled down to bare minimum. And so many people are out of work. It's hurting a lot of people.
Yeah. So do you have a big part of the population that's been infected with it?
No, so far in our area, there's maybe 10.
Yeah. That's kind of where we're at here, but it's
like 60 or 80,000 people in our whole area, including farms and everything. And there's like 10 people so far. And so it hasn't really hit here. My daughter just came back from England a couple of weeks ago. She's going to school there in university. And so we got her back. So she's in isolation in a trailer outside the house here. So we leave food for her on the altar. And
but she okay?
Oh yeah, she's had no ill effects or anything like that.
Nice.
And she's done her 14 days on Wednesday. So then she'll come back. She'll come back in the house, and
she still shoot.
She hasn't recently. She was so busy with different things.
Sure.
But I know that when she gets out of isolation, we're going to start shooting because the turkey season's coming up and bear and everything else. So I want to see if we can get her back in shape. Me too. I hadn't shot for pretty much all winter, so I'm just trying to do a lot of blind bailing to get my form back up and things like that. And it's funny, I talk about form in my videos, and people say, well, form, especially in traditional archery, again, it's that hunched over bit, right? Doesn't matter. It's how you feel. And no, it's not. It's form means everything. And I can go back to the fact that I have a lot of bad habits that from not learning correctly, from being self-taught. And so when I was shooting, 1,000 arrows a week, like I was a few years back, that didn't matter. Any little form problem, and it didn't matter. But when I go, 3-4 months without shooting because of wintertime, and then I only shoot once or twice a week, all of a sudden those bad habits rear their ugly head and take over the shot. Right? And so it's a real struggle fighting my bad form, because I don't have the greatest form. I've got, it's okay. It works for me, generally speaking, but I'm not like the poster boy of what people should look like when they shoot. There's a lot of other people that shoot a lot better form than I do. So I'm more of a do as I say, not as I do kind of guy.
That's how I parent. That's how my parenting skills. So getting back to it, do you, would you say you see the arrow, or are you just looking right at the target?
Yeah. I don't see anything. If I do try to look at it, well, number one, because I'm left eye dominant, if I do look at the arrow, it's going to, be on a slant going way off to the left on me. Unless I close my one eye.
Yeah.
So yeah, if I look at the arrow, it's bad news for me. I just can't focus on what I am.
How much emphasis do you put on concentration? Right. So they say aim small, everything. Miss small. Yeah.
Everything. It's everything. It's absolutely. As soon as any doubt comes into it, it's a miss.
And how do you do that? How do you do that with like a flying duck or a pheasant or something? How are you picking?
You have to learn how to acquire. It's target acquisition, and it's learning how to acquire that target so that you can see what you need to see. And it takes practice. It'd be like a baseball player, right? Trying to hit a pitch. They have to acquire that target They have to see that pitch coming in. They have to see that ball. Whereas someone that's new at it is not going to see the ball. A lot of strikes. Right? So it's actually learning how to pick up the target in flight, how to see it. Now it just takes practice and practice and practice.
What's your maximum effective range, would you say, on a flying critter like that?
I've taken them out to 25, 30 yards.
Wow. That's cool.
I've missed a lot too at that.
No. No.
So I mean, it's all part of it, right?
Oh yeah.
I've lost a lot of arrows in my day.
What kind of heads do you use for flying birds?
For ducks and geese and pheasant, I'll use like my deer setup, like 2-blade broadhead. And then for grouse and woodcock, just a judo point.
Yeah. Wow. Woodcock with a bow. Holy smokes. That's a fast target.
Yeah, they don't fly as fast as you think they are. And they have a pattern to them because they go up and they level off and then they go.
Where do you hit them?
If you learn how to fly.
Yeah.
The problem is they're always in branches and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's having a shooting lane that you can actually get through to make a shot. But there's no difference in like shooting a chucker.
Now, you're a gun dog guy, right? You're hunting with a dog. You worry at all about the dogs and broadheads?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, usually it's a pass through, I'm assuming.
Yeah, but I don't. Actually, right now I don't have a retriever. But when I did, I didn't use it when I was bow hunting. Just shotgunning only.
Yeah.
It's not worth the risk to me. I'd be worried that I could call them off and not send them. That's easy enough to do. But yeah.
Well, how's your bear hunting up there?
That's good. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Now, are you baiting, spot and stock, still hunting?
A little of everything because it's hard to bait. Like we're 290 miles away, so it's hard to bait.
Sure.
So my baiting I do is basically to find out where the movement is, and then and then I'll put things out. Like I might go up every couple of weeks or so, and refresh a bait site and see what kind of dung is left behind. If there's lots of scat and lots of dung, then I know I've hit. I've got to go. And because I've it's my place. I've been up there for years. I kind of know the corridors. I know the funnels. I know the beaver lodges, the abandoned beaver lodges to use. I know all that stuff already. So it kind of makes it a little simpler. And then we'll do a lot of spot and stock as well in the springtime because that fresh green growth is coming up where the beaver ponds used to be where they're dried up.
Yeah. Now
it's nice grassy stuff, eh? And so they're in that feeding, trying to put weight on like crazy, eh?
Yeah.
And so you hunt different areas. And I like predator calls too. So playing with predator calls. That's how we got charged last time.
Oh, do tell.
Oh, we were hunting with a friend of mine, Tom Martin. He's with Game Chasers Television. And we were actually filming for a show. And that's when he was with Hitman Canada at the time. And anyway, it was the last evening we were there. And I was hammering on the predator calls, trying to get, something to happen. We were across the beaver pond from where the cabin was. And so, nothing. Hammered on it for like 20, 25 minutes, like 3 times. Nothing. Okay. So we packed up, go across in the canoe in the pond and start walking back up the cabin. And we're both like, doesn't feel right. Feel like we're being watched. We both kind of said at the same time. We're like, well, my son and his dad were there. And, well, that's probably, they're probably up at the cabin. That's probably what we're. So anyway, we get to the cabin, open the cabin door, and I go to wash my hands in the water basin. And it was dirty water. So Tom just came in behind me, and I said, open the door. I want to toss this out. A bear was right at the door. He followed us right on our heels.
Really?
He stalked us right up. And then he took off around the corner. And then so being an idiot, I grabbed the camera to go try to get some pictures. At that point, it was just getting dark. And I thought chasing away, came back, and he came back again. And he starts pacing back and forth. And Tom came out with his 270. And anyway, he charged us. And so he shot him.
Wow.
And he had the cabin had we on the Friday night we got up there, the cabin was broken into by a bear, and no claw marks on the top of the logs and all that kind. I think it was more of a territorial thing. That this was his territory and we were in it, and that was it was exciting.
Yeah, was he a younger? Was it a male?
Yeah, it was a big male.
Oh yeah,
yeah, big male.
Now, when you're predator calling, what are you using up there?
Just his mouth calls, and just basically like rabbit calls and stuff.
Oh, okay.
And a fawn call.
Yeah. I'm gonna. I want to try.
The secret to that is once you start calling, you don't stop.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard that as soon as you stop, the bear will stop. So basically, you just go winded for 20 minutes. And at the end of 20 minutes, it's just like.
So you get charged as you're hyperventilating?
Yeah.
Do you ever call solo? You ever do that solo?
No, we're always two of us.
Yeah, you gotta have a head on your swivel there.
I'll do that with coyotes here at home, but not with bear. I hear about you guys like you guys out there that you guys have to put a big thing behind your back, a big rock, because you got to worry about cougars that are going to come in. It's geez, man.
Yeah, I think if a cougar's going to eat you, you're going to be the last one to know about it. They're pretty sneaky. But we don't have too many problems with them. Yeah. That's just those Californians.
Do you guys bait bear?
Bait bears, you say?
Yeah. Do you bait, or is there no baiting there?
Yeah. So I'm in Idaho, and depending on units, because we have some grizzlies around the state, they won't allow baiting in those units. But no, we have some really good bear baiting opportunities. I really enjoy spot and stock. It's a blast. It's not really feasible in the area I'm at. So I'll bear bait around here and then spot and stock like in central part of the state.
Yeah.
We don't have big, you don't see a lot of big bears. You see them once in a while. When I mean big, I'm saying like 6.5 and up squared.
Yeah. Same.
But
that's a lot of fun. I mean, as I say, I do a mix of everything.
Yeah.
And it kind of plays off one another, right?
How is your deer hunting up there?
Oh, it's we've got 1 or 2 deer up here.
You got pretty good opportunities then. I mean, you got more than one tag.
Actually, no, we only get 1 tag.
What is your season length?
It's October 1st to December 31st. And then there's a week at beginning of November, which is rifle only, and then a week, which is muzzle loader in December. And the rest is bow hunting.
Yeah. Is it,
but it's only 1 tag. Now you can share tags too. Like if my kids have tags, the 3, we have an opportunity for 3 deer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh. They call that party hunting here in Idaho, and they frown on it.
Oh, yeah. Well, we've got such a healthy deer population, and we got too many does.
Mm-hmm.
The doe ratio to buck ratio is huge. And like this time of year, I'll go out and I'll see 65 deer in the field, and they'll be all does. Yeah.
I'd say there's a little mismanagement going on where I'm at here, and we've got something similar to that. Is it primarily ag where you're at?
Yeah. We've got about 500 acres of swamp and bush at the back of our place.
Nice.
So that's really nice. It's the headwaters of a major river that comes out and goes to Owen Sound. So lucky that way. But yeah, it's all agriculture. So there'll be like 90 acres of corn beside us, and there'll be, we'll have soybeans and we'll have hay and lots of, feed for them. But it's not concentrated. I prefer to go into the swamp and try to get them as they're trying to get to their staging area.
Sure.
Because if you wait for them to go from the staging area to feed, it's, you got about 5 minutes left for light.
But you're not a tree stand guy, so you're doing ground blinds?
Well, no, I don't build blinds or anything like that or use blinds because they're too confining. Because, you get wind shifts and stuff. I basically go out and put my nose up to the air and saying, what's the wind doing today, and where do I think they're going to move today, and how can I get into a certain area without busting them?
Well, heck yeah! I was watching you this morning on their videos with a 66-inch bow and a swing draw. You need a lot of area. Well, what else? Like I said, I don't often find guys that shoot like I do, like snap shooting. What else would you throw out there as a parting shot to anybody that's interested in learning how to shoot instinctive?
Well, I think there's nothing more fun when you get into what type of targets you can get involved with. And I think it's a great thing to get your kids involved with. Because kids tend to navigate really well to moving targets and swinging bottles and tossing balloons up in the air and things like that. They just love it. And when they get a successful hit, man, it just hooks them. So it's a great way to get kids involved. My kids took to it instantly. And, now they're 23 and 21 and they still love to hunt and do things like that with me. So, I mean, that's what I'd recommend for kids. It's just a ton of fun, right? And you have to take it for what it is. I mean, it's like, as I say, I'd never expect to go into a tournament and win a 300 round. I'm just not that kind of a shot. I can make some great shots, but I can make that shot that guys in 300 round on that duck coming in that they wouldn't hope to hit. So it's just a different style of shooting. One isn't better than the other. You just have to find out what you enjoy. And there's some guys that can do both, which is really good. I can't do both. The most I shoot my bow is probably 45 yards. And I can be fairly consistent when I'm practicing at those distances. But, I mean, it's just for pleasure only. It's obviously never going to use that in a hunting situation. So,
well, cool, Jeff. I appreciate getting together with you. Appreciate your time. And where can people find you? You want to throw a plug for your YouTube channel?
Oh, it's just Jeff Kavanagh.
Yeah.
That's the only name I have. I haven't made a video in like probably over 2 years now.
Well, maybe it's time.
Well, I don't know. Kind of been there, done that. And
you run out of candles? Would you run out of candles or what?
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe this COVID stuff will get me bored, and I'll start making videos again.
Well, like I said, you're shooting on the on your ice skating rink there, and I thought, man, I wonder if that's part of his, regiment. Your balance standing on ice.
Yeah, we're born walking on ice here.
And what's your Instagram handle?
Oh, it's jeff.kavanagh.9.
All right, I'll have both those things in the show notes. Again, appreciate your time, man.
That was nice chatting.
Absolutely.
And check out that Churchill method.
I will. I'll put a link up to that. Actually, that in the Wilhelm. I'm going to do that. The Wilhelm brothers. Yeah. That is awesome. Yeah. Cool, bud. Stay safe. Stay COVID free. Eh?
Yeah, you too. Take care. It was nice chatting.
You bet.
Bye-bye.